Yo guys, what's up? In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to build a simple full-stack CRUD application. We'll cover how to create, read, update, and delete client records, as well as implement search by name, email, and job description. For the front end, we'll be using React.js, Tailwind CSS, and Daisy UI for the pre-built components. On the back end, we'll set up Express with Node.js and use PostgreSQL for our database, along with Axios for making API calls. Throughout the tutorial, we'll focus on the best practices and industry standards to ensure a robust application. Let's get started. The first step would be to make a folder, or like import a folder that where you want it to. So I'll make this one here. I'll name one how to CRUD. I'll click on this folder. Right. Since we'll be having two project files here, one for the front end, one for the back end, I'll just add here in the this is like the root file now, so I'll just type g.txt. Then I'll open Trigger terminal to make sure that I'm on this right route. And then next up, I'll just run the command npm create vite at latest. This will create the React front end. Make sure that you have Node.js installed before you start. So I'll name it CRUD front end. There we go. Use the arrows to navigate. I'll use JavaScript for this. So cd CRUD front end. Nice. Then npm I, npm, then npm run dev. There we go. Then I'll open this folder app.jsx, or maybe open the browser for now. This is the count right here. So let's make sure that's working. We'll remove this one up until this one as well. Then type hello world here. h1 hello world. Remove this constant. Remove this flight and use state. Go to app css. Control A, backspace. Control A, then backspace. You should have this one. Alright. Now let's install. How do we install Tailwind? Just have to go this instruction right here. So just type Tailwind CSS document guides and /vite in the on your browser, and then you'll see this one. We already have our project, so we'll just copy this one. Just Control C for now. Enter. Go in the Tailwind config. Replace this empty content array with this one. There we go. And then copy this in the index CSS. Control V. Then npm run dev. Let's just copy this one just to make sure. And then just Control V here in the app. And then check it here. You should have this underlined word. And for the components, since they don't have free components in Tailwind, you have to pay for it. It's like in a paywall. So we don't want that. We want the free one. And go to DCUI on installation. Just type this one, docs, then install. It'll automatically go there. So Control C here, then install it. npm I, Control C. There we go. Then in the plugins, go to Tailwind config. We're gonna use ESM. So make sure to navigate there. So DCUI here, import DCUI from DCUI. There we go. This is the ESM package. See it now. Yours should look like something like this. The theme is inverted, so but for this one we're also gonna be we'll be using a theme, so we can customize it even more. These are the themes that they have, but for this example I think I'll use Dracula. So you can just go to module exports here. You can just write it here, things here, and just copy this DCUI, paste it here, Dracula, and the theme should change. And as you can see, we have the white font with this beige background. Same with the VS Code, since it's like the same one. I'm also using the Dracula theme, so that's when you know that it's set up. After that setting up, now it's time to get the components from DCUI. What will I get here? The navbar first. Okay, so just get the navbar. Navigate here, navbar. I'll pick something that has something like this, right? Or maybe this. So I'll just use this one. So Control that, and then before that, in the source folder, we're just gonna right click on it and create a new folder, name it components. And that folder we're gonna add a new one, which is NavBar.jsx. Then export default function, then the name, which is navbar. Then it should return. Oh, we need like an empty tag here. It's like a placeholder. Okay, it's wrong spelling. It's funk. Now if we look at this one in app.jsx, We'll just remove it. Then we'll type something like navbar. On the drop down, make sure this one is showing like the dot slash components navbar, and just click on it, or maybe click enter, closing tag, and you should have it right here. It's all the items. To organize this even more, I'll just remove the contents of the navbar start. Okay, I'll remove that. We'll also remove the content of the navbar center. Alright, nice. We'll remove this hidden LG flex. And then we'll keep the Daisy UI there and backspace. Then we'll go back here in the Daisy UI and get the search bar component. There we go. I'll just get this one. So in the JSX here, I'll get this input form control C, then place it here in the center. Okay, for this one, I'll change this one to clients. It's a little small, so I'll change the size to be 48. Double this 48, and yeah, just keep it as that. And then the button, I'll make this one a BTN primary button. There you go, as you can see. That's a primary button. And the next step would be make a table. We'll add a new component here and we'll name it TableList. TableList.jsx. There we go. Export default function. Then type TableList. Then return it. And this one, closing tag. You can just get a table, a pre-built table in this Daisy UI again. Just go to tables. Then we'll be using the hover table. This one. You can just I can just copy it, then just click on tab, and then just pick this hover class. And instead of it just being there, I'll control X on that, and I'll paste it on the T body. So every single content will be highlighted. Actually, I'll just type it since it's not pleasing for some reason. There we go. Object.jsx. Navigate here. There we go. This one. To auto import it. And that's the table right there. Actually, I think I'll change the theme here since I don't want it to be like. Let me just change the theme. I'll make the theme tonight. So you can change themes, whatever you want. Yeah, I'll make it this one. In the table list, I'll add classes here. I'll probably add a margin top, which is 10. It's not working right now, but we can just convert this into a simpler one. So this is just repeating code, but we'll be using list later on. So let's just convert it now. Remove the other parts, remove the other row. Then what you want to do is make a new list here. Say for example, items, right? To be an array. This one will be clients. So we'll add the clients here. Then we probably have a name. Say this one is John. Then let's say this one is John Doe. Then this one will have an email of johndoe@gmail.com. Probably have a job as well. Say this one is a developer. The rate, which is about, let's say 100. Then we'll also have status, or maybe like is active property. We'll make it is active property, whether our client is currently hiring or not. Then just click on enter. Control C. And then just duplicate this one. We'll get 3. And then probably change it a little bit. Maybe this is John 1. This is John 2. John 1. John 2. Developer 1. Developer 2. Say 1. Then 2. Then this one is false. Okay, something like this. These are the clients array. Now to map it into a function, we'll write it here. So the name of the array, which is clients, then map it, then function. Then let's say this one will be a client. Control X here, Control V here. and then slowly add it here. Just fix this. Yeah, make it a constant. I forgot. So this one is a constant. Here we'll add the this one will be the there's supposed to be the client ID, right? Client ID, but we didn't put any ID. So let's just put it right now. Control D, then just type ID, then just type 1. Since this one can't be duplicated, so we'll add 2 here, 3 here. Or we can just use something like this. I think I prefer this one. It's a much simpler approach. Okay, we take that mop function. Let me just this one. Then on that event, we'll get it here, pass in here, and then closing tag. Then inside should be the clients. Yeah, this one is much easier. Feel like look at that. We got the client ID already. OZ. The freak happened. So client ID, then email, then job, then we'll have the rate here. This one will be the rate dot rate. We'll obviously we need to make more space for the table head. We'll add name, email, then job, then rate here. Okay. We'll add rate. Then we'll also add the active status, right? So let's add status. For that, we'll be using a button. C, Control V, and we'll put the button right here. Enter. Okay. Let's get a button. I'll just create one. So button, the button should pop up. Then class name is equivalent to btn. Then maybe I want it rounded full. Then we actually want this one to be like to change depending on this the status, if whether it's true or false. So we'll add this JavaScript here, and this one like if it's beside the number 1 here, just type it there beside the number 1 in your keyboard. Then we'll put width of 20. This one width 20. Then this one will have the hashtag client dot is active, just like a then else active. So if it's true, it will be something like a btn primary. Just add it here. This is the else. So if it's true, but else it will be a btn outline primary. There we go. Okay, nice. That did like change color, right? So if it's active, it's primary. Then if else, it's not. I'll just copy this one. Since I already explained how it works, you just have to like, is this true? Then if it is true, then make it an active. Then else inactive. Let's just say this one. There we go. We also need an update button and delete button as well. So here, maybe I'll add a new DD here, and add it again. Oh wait, let's just make a button first. And just make one. So button. This one will be class name. This one will be a btn secondary. We also need the btn here. Nice. And then this one will be an update button. Then I'll just Control C, then Control V. This one will be a delete button. I just want an accent for this. You can do something like an error one. That one, but I prefer the accent. It's like the same thing. There we go. Just a lot easier in the eyes. So the next one is a model. So every time we click on this property, right? Whenever we click on this, a model should pop up as well as the update button. Now the best practice for that is to just create a sort of like a universal model form, since they're like the same, right? So ModalForm.jsx. So let me change the name here. Let's rename this one to model form, something like that. Rename the bar. Since this is like a better practice, since we're using like only the best of the best practices, right? So it has to be capitalized like that. So just change this here. Okay, nice. Navbar should be something like that. Before we make the mistake. Again, it's that, change it. Then this, then that. Okay, that is weird. Let's just import it again. So table list here. Okay, in model form, again, this type export default function, then model form, something like that. Like again, return a blank. Then nice, there we go. How do we pass in some sort of like, how do we use this model, a model here, and use it for both the add button and edit button? I mean, we can just pass it in the app.jsx here, and let's first try to import it, right? Before we add crazy things to it. So import model form. Nice. We first need to add like a state for this model. So I'll probably make a constant here, a use state, and then is open, and then or another one which is sets it to is open. All right, and then the use state should be false at first. Then since we'll have two modes here, one for the update and one for the add, it has to also be dynamic. So we'll make another one, another constant. I'll just copy paste this one. Control L, Control V here. There we go. Set. This one is the model mode. Set model mode. Use state essentially it should be first we add, or like we can just change it later, but yeah, we'll just make it add. Already have the use state here. Then we'll add a constant to handle whatever is open, right? Like something that will update it. So it's equals to the, if we first take in a mode, and then this function, and it should set is open to true. Set is open to true. Also, since we'll be making like a button for the model form, right? Since there's like this is this just there should be two buttons here, one for the add and one for the edit. So we'll also add another handle submit here, just to make sure, just so we don't forget it later on. Handle submit. It should be I mean, yeah, something like that. Then we'll just if model mode is equivalent to add. There we go. We'll console log model mode add, something like that. Then else it should be a console log edit, right? Okay, console log mode edit. Now we need to pass in some parameters for both of this thing, right? We need to first add an onopen. So onopen, whenever like we open like there will be an add button here, right? Which is that one, which is this button right here. So whenever we click on that, it will open it on open. So it will suddenly open it, and then change like how the function here, and handle the open, handle like handle the open model, and change it into an add, right? we need to change it into an add. And then for this one will be the update button. So we need to make sure that is different. But we don't really need to add like is edit, since we already have like a conditional statement here. So whenever like if it's not add, since this is the only specific one, it will just make sure that it will go to edit, right? There's no other button that will add it there. So yeah, just add an open here. Is open here in the model. Is open, then equal to, then is open. Then obviously this will close. So on close. Oh, this is like the property of the model later on. You'll see. This is in the model itself. So on close, we'll take in a function and then set the model that is currently open into false since we want to close it. There we go. But before that, we obviously need to get a model, right? So we'll get a model from Daisy UI. Just get one here. Model. You can pick anything here. I think I'll pick this one. The one with the X. There we go. Control V. Okay, nice. Now in the model form, we know that this will take in a prop of is open and prop of on close. Then it will also take in a mode actually, whether it's add or edit. Then on submit as well. Yeah, we also need an on submit for this one since we'll be clicking the button. And here, open on close, on submit, handle, submit. And then we'll just go here. Now we both have this. Alright, and essentially it's basically this dialog right here. This is the dialog that will be opening up, right? Like we should open it. Is equals should be to like is open. Whenever some sort of like event happen in the other things. I'll make an H3 here below the model box. H3. Then I want the class name to be, I don't know, like font bold, maybe text LG, like large text, and then maybe padding on the x-axis, which is 4. Then what I want is whenever the mode is equivalent to edit, since that will be like the name of the thing that will pass in through the table list. Then we'll say something like edit mode, edit client, or something like that. Then else, then it will be a client details, like add client, something like that. But I think it's more reasonable to say that's you'll input something, so it should be something like that. Then we'll add a closing bracket. We'll remove this. Oh, this one is like the same sound, but we'll remove that. Remove that escape. And then inside this form, I'll add that one is a circle. We don't want that one. Just want a normal button. So class name, btn primary, or let's make this one success. btn success. Then essentially the mode is equal to edit. So let's just copy this one, right? Then it'll be something like if edit, then save changes. This one will be add client. Alright. Now it doesn't like open yet. Like we need a trigger for it to open. So we'll open the navbar for now, and inside that navbar we have a button, and that button should be the add client button. And then the navbar, take in the props of on open. And what we want is whenever we click that should pop up, right? So on click, then on open. should be true. Okay, nice. As you can see here. Now for the other one, which is table list, which is this one right here. We'll pass in the button here, which is the update. The same as the logic earlier. Just add an onclick here. Then equals to unopen. And open. Great. And we forgot this one. Unopen. We forgot the props. Oh, because it's always set to fall. It's always set true when we exit it, but it's not closing. So in the model form, we need to add an onClose, which we need to use it here. The onClose. So let's add it on this X mark. Right here. Will be. Oh yeah, we forgot the model mode, so it won't. So mode. Let's do model mode. Yeah, it's not using the mode one, so it's not detecting whether I'm using it or not. Set model mode. There we go. I see. It's not passing in any parameters. So in the model here in the table list, you also need to pass in some sort of, not just on click open, because we need like something else, right? On click event, right? It should like on open, then change it to something else, which is the value, which is the edit one. Oh yeah, the function is wrong, sabi na eh. So here in the model table list, instead of is open, it's supposed to be handle open. So it's like that's the current thing that we're using, right? Handle open. Yeah, there's nothing here. There's legit nothing there. There we go. Oh my god. So it's not, yeah, the props is not properly. So we need to pass in this handle open to here. Then after that, open it here in the table, pass it in as a props, and then on click, we should pass in and edit. The next part is to add input in the model, right? We need to add like the inputs that's needed. So for that, I'll go here on the input. Input. Wait, let's try this here. Let's go back. Pretty sure there's some input here. Table, model. Oh, let's go here. I'll probably get this one. JSX. Just get this one. The name on this label. Then Control V. Then. Oh, wait, it's not then. Has no corresponding closing tag. Oh, I forgot the closing tag. Let's add a closing tag then. Nice. Then we'll fix this one. We need like 3. 3 ba? Yeah, so Control V. Control V. Yeah, I think that's fine. So this one will be name. This one will be email. This one will be job. Then we'll add another div. Then add a class name. Then we'll make sure that it's flex. Flex. And then MB4. Then justify content. I'll justify between. So it's equal. Alright. Then we'll get another one of those input. Name this one rate. And this one is a number. Number. Then we'll get a select. A select one. Yeah, drop down select right here. public this one, control V, then there we go, there we go. Okay, nice. Then I'll remove this one. Okay, there we go. Then we'll add some sort of, yeah, let's change it to something else right now. So it'll be inactive. Then this one will be active. Okay, there we go. Then if you look at our model here, we have this, but obviously they need like styling. I'll probably add like a margin Y for every single one of those. Oh, it's supposed to be in the label. Oh yeah, it's supposed to be in the label. My bad, my bad. Let's try that again. Here. Wait, I need that one. There we go. And we'll just type something like margin Y for, should space it out evenly, and that one is margin top, I think. Yeah, let's add margin bottom for, and the margin right for, margin right for. Okay, this is weird, so I'll just add margin top for, should equalize it a little bit more. There we go. This one is rate, but obviously it's not supposed to be daisy. We'll just remove it. I don't really need that thing. Or you can put one if you want to. I'll just remove it. There we go. Okay, nice. Then we should work for update and edit as well. Yeah, I'll add it. I'll add the my here. my4. Sorry, those are the same. There we go. So we have the search button, the update button works. Yeah, and this one, the add client, also works. Now we need to like handle the event because this event could change anytime. To do that, we'll just use constants here. Right here at the top to handle the input change. So constant, then that's rate, then set rate, then use state, this one should be, there we go. I'll just control this one. Control V, then V, then V. Okay. This one is name. This one is email. This one is job. What is your job? Sure, this one is capital. This one is status. Set status. And then this one is a boolean, so we send this to false initially. And we also need a separate one. I'll just make it this one. I'll just copy this one, right? So this one is a handle status change. So whenever the status change, like it will set status to active, right? If it's true, but else it will be like false, right? So if the value is active, the value of the set status will be true, but else it will be just false, since it's a boolean. And we also need to add it here in the select. So set status active, or else it's inactive. For every input, we also need to add this one. This one is like the onChange property. So it will set name then we'll get the set name and then target value. It will be easier later on as well when we add a new client as well as the update client, right? So I'll make one here. Mhm. Then here. Oh wait, the hell. Here, then here. Then this one should be a rate. Again, this one, and then set rate. This one should be job, then set job. Job, then set job. This one should be email, then set email. Email, then set email right here. Okay, nice. And whenever we try to go and edit this one, it should now be editable. And oh, the rate. So the rate is not editable. That's why is that set rate. Rate, set rate. You state this. Oh, because it needs to be a it's set rate. It needs to be a number. But it does work. This one doesn't work yet because we need to have a handle change for the status since it's a drop down. Okay, whenever we are changing, we'll just add this function. Whenever the function change, we'll just add this function right here. So on change, it will set that the new function. It should now work. There we go. Add client. Oh, okay. And whenever we need to also like handle on submit, we also need to add like on submit here. Yeah, the handle change. So on submit, it will handle submit. So we'll make a new one, new function. So the constant is handle imperative. No, not that one. Handle submit. We'll take in an argument of e, and then whenever that's happening, right, we should just prevent default. Then we should also close the model. On close. Not really like, yeah, something like that. Handle submit. And then here on the on submit, we'll handle that one. On submit, we'll add the handle submit. There you go. Now it should work. Okay. There we go. So it sets it into on close. Okay, save changes. This one is add client. That's the. Oh, I also add like in the navbar. I'll add more padding maybe in this one. Say P or P4, something like that. Just to add more space. There we go. All right. Now that the front end is done, let's go ahead and go to the back end. Since this is just one folder, we'll be making another one. So just wanna control in this root folder right here. I want to open another integrated terminal. I want to type cd dot dot. So that way I'm on the how to CRUD folder. The next thing that I'll do is probably make a new folder, mkdir. Then this one is the content of CRUD backend. This is where our Node.js, Express.js, Postgres logics are. So I'll just do that. Now that we have that, I'll make a new file and name it index.js. And there we go. And I'll just open that in my integrated terminal. Remove that. Okay, in here, I will go ahead and npm init-y. So we'll get the node modules. After, the package.json pala. After getting that, we'll use the npm I express as well as the .env later on for the connection in the backend. Okay, nice. You should have a node modules here, and Node.js, and a JSON. Now, how do we run this? Import, then express, then from express. Make sure before doing that, go in the package JSON and type it here. That we'll be using is the module type. So it's the module, something like that. Yeah, since this is the newest version, like, so we just put it there. Index here, then constant app is equals to express, then here, then app that listen, port takes in the argument of port here, then port, we just comma, then this one is a function that takes in nothing, and then console log, so log. We also need to add our port as a constant, so constant port will be like 3000. There we go. Then console log, let's just type something like listening on port 3000. There we go. And then here in the terminal, before we launch it, since this one is like, what do you call this, it's not automatic, like whatever changes you make in the backend will not automatically reflect it. You have to auto refresh it, and to fix that problem, we will use npm, we'll use nodemon essentially, so that way it will automatically update every time we make changes. To run it, just say something like nodemon index.js, and you should have this one, listening on port 3000. Now, how do we get like, to get like some sort of response through URL? We can just say something like get slash rec, then response. That will not really take anything. Then in here, we'll pass in something like, yeah, I should return, forgot the keyword return. Okay, it's not working still. Wait, forgot something like this. Oh, it's supposed to be return dot send. Yeah, it's supposed to dot send it. We need to specify the type, but we need to put it at the above, something like this. Yeah, something like that. So this one works. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, something like that. If we go to localhost 3000 and just go to slash, we would have hello backend right here. Now that's when we know that it's working. But the thing is, this is not like the industry standard. There's supposed to be like, since we'll be using a client as well as a database, we have to adhere to what's the best practices, right? And to do that, I'll just go to whatever folder this is. So I will just click on it. Reveal in File Explorer. Okay. Then what I would do is to base it on the best practice. So the best practice is to create a new folder, name it SRC, and inside the XRC we'll put the index, alright? And inside this index we'll also add, and then we'll actually need to make db.js here. Another one will make a controllers folder. So controllers and routes. I'll just make it here. Routes. We'll make another one. This one is a services. There we go. And inside there should be a file. In this controller, I'll make something like client controller.js. So client controller. Next one is the route, which is client route.js. Even though this is a simple application, we'll apply this one because like when this is for like scalability, because like if the project gets bigger, it'll be harder to handle if it's like all the files are and the logic are just in one place. So we make individual folders for every single logic. This one is services client services.js. There we go. Now that we have that, this one will not work. I want you to change this one since this is in a folder. So src slash index.js, and it should still work. Right? Okay, there we go. Nice. Now what we want is to access things here, right? But before that, we add the logic here. What we need is a database. Okay? Because this is for the like the CRUD, like the create, read, and delete will be passed into every single one here. So at first it will go to services and controllers, then routes, and then from routes to index. So let's do that. I want you to first install Postgre admin. So it's there we go. Admin, something like that. You need this one. After that, I want you to open it. PG, it's PG admin. There we go. Open. And now let's make our database. While that's waiting, we'll also add something like we'll also need to install course npmi course, and we also need pg, which is the Postgres, and we need .env. I think we already have that, but I will also need that one. There we go. Then we'll import it right here. Then we also want to use that course. There we go. Then we also need to use this one because we'll be passing in the data in a JSON file, right? So what we want. So let's just go check your package JSON first. Make sure you have this one, env course express pg. It's all the dependencies that we need in the backend. Okay, or maybe like access later, but let's see. Go to Postgres if it's done. The window should look like something like this. You have to type in a password first, but I made mine so it automatically doesn't let me, just remembers me. First we create a database. So left click here, right click, create database. We'll make this one client underscore DB, right? So save. Okay, now that we have that, we want to create this query tool. You can just copy this one. I'll change this one to a clients table or TB. I'll just make it clients TB, short for table. Copy that and then control V. You can study it more, but like it's basically straightforward. It'll create this one, then primary key, then it says not null, email, not null. This one job, it can be a null or something. Then yeah, it's just a basic query, basic PostgreSQL query. To check it, just click on execute or refresh. You should click on schema, click on tables, and go in this one, right click, all rows. Obviously there's nothing, so let's put something in that database. I already have one. Insert into. We'll just add sample data. So I'll make a query again. Then just paste it here. Insert into clients DB all this data. It should say success. I'll go back to the table, view that table, all rows, and we should have all of this. Now our mission is to make sure that it renders. How do we get it? This one to connect to our database. And that's the next thing that we'll do. In our database db.js, we'll add something like this. So first we'll import Postgre, something like that. Then from PG, okay. Then we'll also import env from .env. It's the best practice to like use .env whenever you're making like the confidential stuff, since we'll be putting here the like name, the password, of our database, or maybe the port, so we don't want others to see that. We'll just make a new file here in the backend folder, like in the like the root folder, which is the CRUD backend. So dot env, enter, and before that we'll add something like a constant db, which is a new pg client. That's us, and then curly brace, then the user is equivalent to, I'll just copy paste it, this one, so it should be equivalent to this one. Okay, obviously these are like process env pg. What does that even mean, right? Basically, the process env imports the contents of the env file into the db.js. So whatever the pg user is, it exchanges it to, like, for example, this one is root. So just put root here as the user, and then here still value as root without it being seen. It still works. It works that way. Then we just need to db.connect to connect to our database. Then I'll just add an error handling. Something like this should suffice. Okay, so database on error will print the error, then console log the error, just so we know. Then what we want is to export this thing that we did. So constant, I'll just name this a query in equivalent to text, and params, then this is equivalent to like the db.query, then it's equivalent to the text and parameters. All right, nice. And then now it's time to connect it. So in our .env, I want you to copy this part. Okay, this will be the name of our like variables. So I'll delete all this process env. I'll delete this pg as well. Not really. We need that one. So delete until there. So I'll just delete this and this. Okay. Then this one should have a value, as well as this one, as well as this one, and this one. On default, the value of the user is Postgre. So if you didn't change it, it should still be that Postgre. And the PG host is localhost only. But this will obviously change if like you're using another, if you're deploying it, right? And then the client that we're using is the client. Is it clients DB or clients? No, clients DB. Does it have S? Yeah, it's clients table. So clients DB. Then my password is something like this. I'll just change it later on. It's just very short. Then the localhost is 5432. Remove this one. Okay. Now, how do we make it so that these things work? Well, the first thing that we need is to get all the rows from the query that we just did, right? So import query. Our next objective right now is to like view all rows using a JSON using JSON. So we should see it in our backend. So db.js, that's relative file, location, then we'll export a constant, and then this one will be a get clients. Should not take in any parameters. Sync, and then it has a constant of those rows. Then we should await that query, whenever we'll get it. Then query select all from clients DB table. Then this one, then it should return all the rows. This one is supposed to be in services. My bad. So services, visit here. In the controller, we'll import, since there'll be more function here, maybe the create, read, view, and search all. We need like import everything there, and just a single variable. So we'll name it client service. Then from the location, which is dot dot, which is the services, and then slash client services.js. Export it as a constant. So that one is the clients. This will be an asynchronous function. And then it has a request. Let's just remove the next part. Curly brace, it should try. This is just an error catcher. Clients, let's name it clients here. Since it's just a constant, so I'll await client service, just this one. Then from that, we'll get the function of getting the clients. Then we'll make it as a function. Then rest status should be 200 and should return a .json file, which is clients. And if it doesn't, it will catch an error, and it will just say too lazy to type, but this is like the error that we need. So just get the error, and it will be less 500. From that, we'll make sure that's in client routes. Import the express from express, since we'll be using client routes. So import everything from that client controller. Type it as client controller from dot slash this one slash port all as, and constant is a router, and we'll be using express that router. Change this one into a capital. We'll just be getting all the contents of the table, so we'll just use that. Then clients, then client controller, it's an object right here. Then dot get clients client controller. Oh, okay, there we go. You should highlight, since this is from this is from the client controller. Yeah, so it should highlight a screen. Next up in index.js, we need to import cores. There we go. Just need to delete this one. Then we'll import the routes. Import routes, client routes from dot slash routes slash client routes.js. Oh, we need to also export this one. That's why it's not highlighting. Router. Wait, I don't know. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Here in the index, app.use. Then we'll pass in an API route first because we know it's an API. Then we'll type in a client routes, and it should output a JSON file. The next step that I want you to do is actually install Postman. You need to install this one, and then after you install it, I want you to open it here, Postman. open, something like that. And then you should see it here at the sidebar. Just click on right click, I think. Yeah. Then open the Postman. After opening it, you'll go to send an API request. And this is the just the get route. We'll just use, what was the route earlier? Just make sure that it works first. Type something like API clients. Okay, it can't be reached. There's an error since we are not running the server. Again, nodemon src index.js. Stat. Okay, let's try again. JS. PG client is not defined. Can just check that again. Oh, it's pg.client. Okay, then env from .env. We also need to like env.config. We also need to use it, right? This way we'll access the configuration file. db connect, of course it will not. That's a typo. Wait, do I have .env installed? So npm i.env. Oh, the database. It's not db but db. There we go. What do you mean clients db doesn't exist? It's right here. This is the database. Oh, it's client db. Let's go back here. Okay, nice. We do have all of it now. If you have that error, guys, just follow along with me and then just debug it. But yeah, this is basically it. And you want to use Postman for this one later on. Just paste it here. It should send and use all of it. We'll be using this to make the CRUD function work. Okay. Now that's done, let's add the create function. Okay, first let's go to services. We'll add another function which export constant create client. I'll just copy this one. It's much faster. Create, then remove the letter S. Then we'll pass in a client data. Client data. There we go. And we'll have this constants, which should be like every single part of it. So all of this should be filled. And it's equivalent to the client data. Next up, we'll just use this command. I'll just copy paste it since my fingers are tired. But it's basically like this. Now, how does this work? Obviously, we need to change this one. Insert into client DB, which is the table. We look at here in our database. Table. Yeah, it's clients DB. It has letter S. So clients DB. NameJ, right, is active. This will just return like what you inserted. The first result, which like if it's success, it will return it. Then it will go to controller. Again, go to controller. Then just copy paste this one. Control C, Control V. This one will create client. Should be asynchronous. Takes in those parameters. It should have a constant of client data, which was the thing that we passed in earlier. Data, and it's equivalent to rec.body. Rec.body is basically everything that's like inputted. So if there's a form of like username and password, rec.body is like basically that. And you can just print it in a JSON format as well. Again, we're gonna be using another constant. Then we'll make a new client. Then await client service, create client data. Yeah, basically that. Okay, nice. It just auto type for some reason. Then rest status. There we go. JSON, it should send that one. Then again, just handle this one. In the routes, we'll just be making another route, but this time instead of it being a get route, it will be a post route. So Control C, Control V, then get route. Post route, I mean. Clients, create client. Change this into create client, which is an object. There we go. Now, if we go back here, I have a sample data already. John Doe is active, something like that. So we can just copy it. This one is a JSON form. This one is a JSON format. So we can go to Postman here. Change this one to a post route. Go to body. Go to raw JSON file. Control V. And we should return, it should return to as status error. Joke lang. It should be 200, okay? That means that it's successfully added to our database. If you look at this one, then view all rows. We should have a seventh row, which is John Doe. John Doe at example, developer, 50 and true, which is also the JSON format that we used, right? Let's make another one for the update. So in client services, I'll just copy this one since it's very similar. Control V. Update client. Okay, nice. Then it should get all of this one. Send this client data. The rows are the same. The query, but instead insert into update clients table. Set name. And we'll add set. We'll make this one capital letter. Name is equal to the first, what do you call this? It's like some sort of template or something that you use as a substitute. Since you can directly inject it here, you just have to like have this thing, right? So that's 3. That's 4. And that's 5. Oh, about that's 5, yeah. There we go. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The values. But we need where ID is equivalent to the 6th one. Then returning all. And then instead of is active, it should also take in the client ID, which we don't have yet. So it will take in the client data as well as the client ID. Client ID here. Nice. Control. And it should be in the 6th value. This order really matters because this one is the first one. Email, the second one. Job, then rate, then active. Status. And the client ID is the 6th one. So make sure that matches. Let's go to controller. You guess it. We're gonna add another route. This time is the edit route. The update route. I'll just copy this. Control C. Control V. Then update client. Constant rec body new client. We don't really need that. We need this one. Then constant client ID. Then rec params ID. Rec params ID. This is in the URL. It will get whatever it is. Later I'll explain in much detail. Okay, let's continue. And then the client data, right? Something like that. Rec.body again. This has all the inputs that we need. You know, like the name, job, etc. Same as this one, the rec.body. Okay. We'll add a conditional. I'll just copy paste it honestly. Okay, what's going on here? If not updated client, meaning the client ID like does not exist or something like that, it would say that, you know, client not found. But if client ID is actually true and it returns something, it will get the client, it will take in the parameter of client ID and the client data. That's like replacing it to. Then it will receive a success status and a JSON file that contains the updated data. Here we go. Just need error catching here, still the same. Go to client.routes. Instead of post, we'll be using put, since that one is for the update. Just put here put. Instead of correct client, it'll be update client. If you look at here, there's an option on the dropdown which is put. Then if you type something like in the routes, we also need like a parameter here. So I'll just type here a slash. This is direct ID params, so it will get whatever the first parameter here, which is in our case the ID. So what ID is this one? This guy is ID 7. So /7. Instead of John Doe, I'll make this one say Dammer. Then Control C. Then just Control D on it. There we go. Change this one to 52. And active is to false. Now we change everything. All that's left to do is send it. So let's change this one. Since it doesn't exist, we just have to use the normal one. Let's try again and see the actual error that's going on here. Message internal server. Syntax error. Near at $5. Oh, there we go. There's no equal. Okay, make sure. Then send. Okay, another error. We need to remove it. So I just remove it. Third time. Oh, another error. Okay, nice. For some reason the error is here. Yeah. Just make sure that you guys just have like this one is actually correct. You can just modify it or just copy paste it from the GitHub. But yeah, there, but it works just fine. Now it's John Damer. If you look at the PG here, to check it, just click on View All Rows. And John Dimer instead of John Doe. Now it's John Damer. There we go. See 52 developer as well as the false is active. Now let's add another controller, which is the delete one. Delete and the search one. In the services, I'll just copy this one. Alright, shift tab. But shift tab. Then tab. This one. So what will happen is we'll take in the parameter of the rec ID, which is the params, rec ID params, and the ID of that. Then it will do the query wherein it will delete the client. In client table, it will delete whatever the ID of that client. Then if rows is greater than 1, it will be true. Then false otherwise if it's like there's no such thing as that client, right? Now let's go to controller. Controller. It's kind of the same as this one. It's a little different. So just pass it here, enter. This one will be delete client. Rec params ID should be deleted. I'll just delete this one. And then I'll copy this part right here. Okay. Control V. Don't really need the data. Okay, to explain, the deleted will be, since this is asynchronous, like, yeah, it's asynchronous, obviously. Then we'll pass in the client ID, which is this one. Wait, what's the error here? If, oh, there's no else. There's no closing tag for this one. Again, instead of this one will be the deleted. Let's just send. We'll just not send anything since it's already deleted, right? We'll just send, rest 200 since it's true. Error fetching client. We'll update this one. This one will be adding client. Error, client not found. Error, updating client. Updating client. This one will be client not found. Error, deleting client. Internal server error. Okay, nice. Okay, the next step is the route. Just copy paste this one. Again, you know it. Client instead of put will be delete. dot delete. Then instead of updated, it will be delete, something like that. Okay, then all that has to do is to just test it, right? Now we have that's the CRUD. Let's test it if it actually works. We'll just give them an empty JSON file and we'll delete John Deemer. Why not? Then send. 200 means okay. Now if we refresh our database, all rows, we should not see the Deemer one. Nice. Okay. Now there's another feature which is the ability to like search. So let's do just that. So the client controller, I'll just copy paste it. Why not? And explain to you what's going on here. So search term, rec query that q means like anything like that it resembles. So maybe letter A, letter B, letter C, something like that. So for example, letter A here, await client service search term which is A. So it will get everything that's like has letter A. Then it will return all those client that has the letter A in it. Then error, searching for client's internal error. And that's how it works. Now if you go to services as well, you need that. Services. I'll just copy paste this. This is the function that you need to use for searching similar items. This one again is like anything that's resemble. For example, A. This one has letter A. This one has letter B. And it will show it. So await or email. I like from clients where name one like or like this one. And just like that, we'll go to routes. It's also control get since we're getting just the search term, right? Clients does not exist. Oh, okay, nice. That means we just copy pasted it. Yep. Clients table. Try again. Eve. Ah, I see. So this one should be here. Yeah, it's the Q. So letter Q, then E, and let's pass in it or nothing. Let's pass in nothing. There we go. Look at that. Now it works. So it should be here. So let's say Eve should be able to find her. There we go. Then let's say developer. We don't have it. Oh yeah, because I remove it. Okay, the error is not here. So let's say or job I like number 1 here. Then dev. There we go. Software engineer. Okay, nice. Now that's the back end done. Now that the front end and back end is done, it's time to connect to make the function work. All of this function work. The first function that I will implement is probably to view all the contents from the database to the actual table that we have here in the React front end. How do we do that? Let's first start with where we want to put it. In the front end, I will want to put it here in the table list since this is where it's like listed. So I'll put it here. And how do we fetch all this data? We'll probably use something like Axios. So I'll say something import Axios from Axios. I don't think I have it installed, so these are two servers, guys. Just remember, this one is in the backend and this one is in the front end. These are two different things. Since this is not defined yet, I'll say something like npm I Axios. There we go. Then npm run dev. So take note, this is the front end, and the other one server that's running is the backend. So make sure both of those are running. Again, you can just click on open integrated terminal here, and then run the command, and here and then integrated terminal to run the command. I'll probably use an effect. First thing is to make sure that there's a constant for the table data. Then set table data. We're gonna use useState. So control useState. There we go. Then we'll pass in an empty array because this will contain like a JSON file. It will like contain like some sort of dictionary. So that's why we need like that. For the betterment of it, I'll use in error catching state as well. And import use effect. This will be our main theme here. This one is a bit long, but I'll try to type it. So use effect will get this function. It's an open arrow function along. Then constant will be equivalent to the fetch data. Fetch data, which will be an asynchronous. We'll just add it here. Then try. It will constant. Then else. Ay, catch pala. Error. Then we'll add something like set the error to that specific error. Error message. This is just an indicator, just in case it's not working. It'll be easier to understand things. Outside this one, it would bring in an empty array. So it would mount an empty array. Like this will happen, but if there's nothing here, then it will just return an empty array. Fetch that data. We'll use Axios constant response equivalent to await Axios dot get, which is to a route get, which is http localhost 3000 dot 3000 slash API slash clients. And you can double check this by just copy pasting this one. And if your Node.js is running, if you have this listening port at 3000, you can just paste it here. And as you can see, it works as a JSON file. And hopefully that will happen here. Okay, so just set the table to the response data. Control, and there we go. Nice. How do we render this? We'll pass it in as a table data. So table data, because that's now the object. Now it should be viewed. Okay. Now we got a problem. Oh, the fetch data is not working. Obviously, we have to like fetch it, right? It will not fetch itself, so we have to put it here. Fetch data. It will run that function. There we go. Nice. That's view done. These are all the data. The error, we don't have that yet. We need to like render it somewhere. I'll just add it here, just in case for better. Or maybe in the future if you're going to expand it. I'll just add it there. That's read done. Reading all the contents of the table. I'll remove this constant. The next up is probably, let's go with the search function first. The search function is located in the navbar. To do that, we need to pass it in. So we want the function to go here and then render in this one. Since these are in two different components, I'll pass it here in the table list. We'll pass in here a constant first, which is the search term, then search term. The new state on default, that will be like that. And then we'll import Axios as well, I think. Import Axios from Axios. Search term will come in here from the navbar to the table list. So we'll add here a prop that says on search is equivalent to the set search term. Now that will be like, for example, later, I'll explain later. Then it will render here to the table. So here. So we'll pass in here the search term and the current value of the search term that it is being set by the navbar. There we go. So whatever is written here will be passed in here. Okay. Now let's go to NavBar.jsx, and it will take in a prop of a on search prop, on search. And then of course we need a handle for it. I'll just quickly make a function here, like on change value. Whenever this inbox has like a different value, it will be whatever the value. So you don't have to click on enter, anything like that. It will just automatically show you all the contents that has it. So it will take in the event, which for example is the letter E. Then on search target, then it will get it. So letter E, it will set it, which is now what's ever like popping here. Handle search change. Now in the table list, we have to add a function that filters it. So this one is to filter data here. What will this do? So first, it will just get all the clients available, right? After getting all the clients, it will go through every single one of these parameters, and it will get whether you are using that or not. You can also use the route that we made earlier for the backend. but I think this one is like a little cleaner. I just made that one, just in case you actually want to use it. But if you're using React, just use this one. But yeah, that one is also can be also used. You can just use import as well as this one. You can just use Axios, then whatever the event is. Yeah. But this one is like a little shorter. And just type here. I still love the table. They will type filtered data. Filtered data. Just go to inspect console. Search term is not defined. What is that? Is it an app.jsx? Table list. Oh, we have to hand it here as a search term. The prop. Search term. There we go. So we got Eve, and then we got like product managers. We got like software engineer. We got like the HR. So all is working. That's nice. Now the next up is the create function. And we'll use a model for that. This is the model that we're gonna use. First thing I'll do is change this, add something here to the handle submit. Wait. I think it's better to start at app.jsx, since there's better logic here. We'll import Axios here. Yeah. So first I'll make a client data constant. Constant client data. Client data. Then set client data. It will use state. Initially it should be null since it's empty. Okay. We'll not do anything first with that since this is the logic will be. So we need to pass it here from the model. Then when we click on enter, it will pass it in here back again from this model to this app JSX. So from here to no model, it will go here to app.jsx, right? Instead of the other way around. So we'll go back, we'll pass it in as a prop, make this one a client data. Client data is equivalent to client data. Okay. There we go. Then after passing that in, we'll make it a prop. ModalForm client data. Is that right? Just copy this one. Maybe my spelling is wrong or something. Oh, it's not gonna be used yet because we haven't used it here. Okay. Whenever we click on submit, since we already have a value for all of the fields, we'll just get a new try catch. We'll just make a new try catch here. Try catch the current error, then console dot error client like that, and then it'll pass in the error. We want to pass all of this data, this name, read, email, job, and status as a constant. Since it's like a rect body, right? So inside that array, there's also curly braces and there's, like key value pairs, something like that. Constant client data. And then, curly braces, name, like that's the name, then the email, the status, and then the job, the job. First job, then rate, then set it into a number because that is the only thing that maybe, like they'll put something else, but we need to set it as a number to make sure. Then is active, we'll make it a status because it can be either true or false. Current value that we have, let's say we change it, this one will be true if we change it into something else, so it can only be true or false. Then await on it. Okay, there will be an error because it has to be an asynchronous function because not every time we're gonna add a client, right? So on submit, we should pass in the parameter of client data. Okay, so what this means is whenever we submit it in the form, it will go from this to the front end. So we need to add it here in the form, have on submit here. Could not file on submit, did you mean on submit? Those are two different things. Okay. Now after it pass in from this part, we need to put it back here in the app.jsx. Now the value is here. So let's say this is the client ID that we want. So we're passing in a new one here, but this is the action that's gonna happen. So we need to not console log, but to make sure that it actually inserts in database. So app.jsx, I'll just copy it. I'll just copy the the code. Right, this is what you'll do. That's a lot of error. That's need to be in asynchronous async, and it should take in a new client data, right? But essentially, it's not set yet. Okay, again, this is post that the post that we did earlier, right? So API clients is post, so we do so every single content of that, let's say name, the job, etc., will be passed in as like a JSON. So it works just the same as the backend. So yeah, you can console log it, and yeah, this should work, right? Hopefully, it should work. Say JJ at Gmail, or do we have to refresh it? Oh, okay, so it works. Okay, so it does work. That's the create. That's the create function done. Now we just need the edit, the update, and delete. Again, let's go back here in the app.jsx and see how we can implement the update button. This part, the ModalForm. The first thing is we need like all the current things, all the current, like the current input, the current value of every single client ID to be in here in the input, right? So we need like Alice here, like the job, etc. So we can just get the client ID or like the client data of that specific person and just use it as an effect. Okay. And we do it just like this one. Again, this is too much to type, so I'll just click on it. So what does what does this mean? If like you click on like the edit mode, when you click on that edit button and there's a client data, so two of these parameters have to be true, then it will set the name, which is the one we have right here. Instead of being blank, it will be to whatever the name of that person, then email, then JSON, the job. The use effect is probably not use effect. There we go. And then else it will just be that. Now what is this? Mode is a type of parameter that is either add or edit, and then client data is a type of the current data, or it could be blank if there's no data at all. So if you click on update, yeah, this is the unused variable that we have because there's two modes, right? It could be add or edit. So we'll add a mode and client. It essentially is null, but we'll make it like that, and then it would set client data into the client. Warning: each child is a list should have a unique key prop. Oh, let's fix that. Let's fix that one first. Let's add a key prop for now, which is client that ID. That error should go away. There we go. Okay, let's go to the model here. Let's see if we will put that there. Ah, I see. Okay, I almost forgot, guys. There's nothing here. There's only like model mode edit. So theoretically, if you click on that, inspect, click on submit, there should be a console log here. Yep, that's the only thing that's happening, but there's nothing like this that's going on. This will be another one. It's the cold model, so client ID will be equivalent to this ID that we're getting, and then it would update it to the new client data. I feel like we should put something here in the update. Oh yeah, it's in the update. I found the bug. So here in the tablet list, should also pass in the clients, obviously, because it's null. So you don't not passing in anything. That's the bug here. This was not here earlier, but now I'm certain, bro, it works. There we go. So you need to pass it in as a prop because you're using it somewhere else, but you're not passing it here because what will happen is it will go here first, so it will have the data here in the button. So if it's here in the button now, it will then it's here in the button. When you click on it, it will go to the model prop right here, which is the client data, and that client data is now the like if it have one, will be the updated one. There we go. So it will just pass in all those data. Okay, nice. Now let's see if it works. So Bob Smith, I'll make this one JJ. Let's say JJR. This one JJR Jobber. Let's say Jobber. Say 1 1. Save changes. And as you can see, JJR at Gmail, Jobber 11 pass 11. And if we refresh, JJR Jobber and then 11. Okay. Now all that's left to do is to delete. That's pretty basic. You can just go to the table list. This is the delete function. You can just pass in a handle delete for that. There's really need like it's not that really complicated. You just have to put this one. So confirm delete. A window will pop up first. This is like a alert. It's like an alert in JavaScript. Are you sure you want to delete this client? And then if you click on OK, then axios.delete. This is the parameter earlier. And then that set the table to whatever the previous data are. And then filter wherein it doesn't have that ID anymore. So it makes it so that it removes it right away in the table as well. Okay, and then set error message. Then error message. And we of course need to add a handle delete button whenever we click on delete. So just go here, delete, Control V, and it should work. Let's delete. Okay, and it should be deleted. Let's refresh. Nice. So in Postgre, we shouldn't have JJR or something like that. There we go. It's clean. But let's say you want to test it again. So John Wick again. Let's try this one. I love dogs. Gmail.com. Assassin. Say 999. Inactive. Of course, if you want to update this, for example, oh, he's active now. Oh no, scary. Let's refresh it. And as you can see, active, or maybe change his email address to now the I'm retired, something like that. Then save changes. Let's refresh. I'm retired. There we go. Let's delete John Wick and click on OK, and there we go. And for example, if you want to search again, see if it's working. There we go, Dana Lee, or maybe say Charlie. There we go, Charlie. And update again, make Charlie active. Nice. Refresh. Nice. Okay. There's just a bonus like change, guys. If you don't want to like constantly update, whenever you want to, when you ever do CRUD operation, you can just add. You can just put it here. So probably I'll go to here in the table list. Get this one, this fetch data, and Control X on that. Then I'll put it here in the app.jsx. I'll probably do it here. And then I'll use this effect of fetching the data. We'll get this function pula muna. Then we'll add it here. And then we use that here. So we remove this. Since it just fetches data, but it doesn't pass it in yet. So we'll use that effect right away to fetch those clients. Then I'll also move the table data from the table list here. I'll Control X here, and I'll put it here in the up.jsx. Set the table to be whatever the previous data is, as well as this part whenever we update it. So I'll remove this part after console logging it, maybe right here. Yeah, there we go, previous data. Actually we need to update it real time, so instead of setting the previous data, we'll set it to that whatever the client ID is. Okay, if there's client ID is equal to the client ID, then there's something like data in there. Else, it will just be the normal client. It will not be changed. Then we'll pass in a set table data here in the table list. So here I'll pass it here maybe, as well as table data, since that is now the content of our database. Obviously that won't work because we need a data table prop for our table here. Table data and set table data. Okay, inspect it again. See the console log error. Use effect is not defined. Okay, so we can just import from the table list here in the app.jsx. App.jsx. There we go. It's fetch clients, not fetch data. There we go. What is console lace? What the hell is that? Maybe that's why it's not running. Let's try again. Da 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 da. There we go. It adds right away. I just delete it. It updates right away. Make this inactive. Save changes. And as you can see, it updates in real time.